Today, I'm diving into something truly groundbreaking happening in the world of cancer care. The UK's National Health Service, or NHS, is rolling out what they're calling revolutionary liquid biopsy blood tests. These tests are changing the game by detecting tiny fragments of tumor DNA in the bloodstream, helping doctors guide cancer treatment like never before. Specifically, they're focusing on lung and breast cancer, two of the most common types out there. These tests allow doctors to match therapies to the unique genetic makeup of each patient's tumor, and they're doing it faster than ever. This is a world first, and it's ushering in a new era of precision medicine that could save countless lives. So, let's break it down. We're going to talk about the NHS's liquid biopsy programs, the incredible trial results, how this is improving diagnosis and treatment, the broader impact on cancer care, and what American experts are saying about it. Buckle up. This is exciting stuff. Let's start with the NHS's liquid biopsy programs, particularly for lung and breast cancer. For lung cancer, the NHS kicked things off with a pilot program using circulating tumor DNA, or ctDNA, blood tests for patients with suspected lung cancer. Over 2,000 patients across 80 hospitals took part in the initial phase, and it was such a success that they expanded it to 10,000 patients across 176 hospitals. This was all happening between 2022 and 2024. Now, NHS England is taking it nationwide, making liquid biopsies a first-line genomic test for lung cancer. They're expecting at least 15,000 lung cancer patients to benefit every year. What's wild is that the NHS is the first healthcare system to adopt a blood test-first approach for diagnosing lung cancer, using these ctDNA tests either before or alongside traditional tissue biopsies. Lung cancer is a big deal in England, with over 34,000 cases a year, and speed is critical because you need to identify mutations quickly to get the right therapy started. Meanwhile, for advanced breast cancer, the NHS is offering liquid biopsies to about 5,000 women annually, especially those whose cancer isn't responding to standard treatments. These tests screen for key mutations driving breast tumors like ESR1, which can make tumors resistant to certain therapies or eligible for newer drugs. This is huge because blood-based tests are now the preferred way to detect ESR1 mutations in hormone-positive metastatic breast cancer. They can catch mutations that might be missed by tissue biopsies, allowing doctors to switch patients to effective therapies like oral SR drugs without invasive procedures. And that's not all. The NHS is also running the NHS Gallery trial, the world's largest study of a multi-cancer blood test in partnership with a US company called Grail. This trial, started in 2021, has enrolled over 100,000 symptom-free volunteers to see if a single blood test can detect more than 50 types of cancer, including lung and breast, at early stages. The goal is to catch cancers before symptoms even show up, which could massively improve survival odds. The trial is huge. They originally aimed for 140,000 participants, and it's part of the NHS's ambition to diagnose 75% of cancers at an early stage. While interim results from 2023-2024 weren't strong enough for an immediate rollout, the NHS is waiting for final data in 2026 before deciding next steps. This shows their commitment to getting it right, even as they invest $150 million in cutting-edge research. Now let's talk about the trial findings because they're seriously impressive. The NHS pilots have shown that liquid biopsies are a game changer for both diagnosis and treatment. First off, they're way faster. In the lung cancer pilot, patients who got a liquid biopsy made treatment decisions about 16 days sooner than those waiting on tissue biopsy results. These blood tests, processed in specialized NHS genomic labs, take about 14 days, compared to the much longer process of getting and analyzing a tissue sample. That speed means patients can start targeted therapies up to 2 weeks earlier, which is critical for survival. As Professor Peter Johnson, NHS England's cancer director, put it, these rapid results let patients get drugs tailored specifically to their cancer right away. The tests also enable precision treatment matching. For example, in the lung cancer pilot, a 33-year-old patient with stage IV lung cancer had her blood test reveal an ALK gene fusion and a TP53 mutation. This allowed her doctors to prescribe brigatinib, a targeted therapy for ALK-positive tumors, instead of standard chemo. In breast cancer, liquid biopsies can detect mutations like ESR1 in real time, showing when a tumor has become resistant to hormone therapy so doctors can switch to alternatives like elacestrant or fulvestrant. This personalization is boosting response rates and improving outcomes, with thousands of patients already seeing the difference. Another big win is avoiding invasive procedures. Traditional lung cancer diagnosis often requires risky, painful needle or surgical biopsies. With liquid biopsies, many patients can get answers from a blood test right after a suspicious scan, sometimes skipping the biopsy altogether. This approach also spares patients from ineffective treatments, like unnecessary chemo, when a targeted drug is better suited. NHS clinicians call this more targeted and kinder care, improving patients' quality of life. The clinical impact is clear. Rapid mutation testing means therapies are better aligned from the start, which can prolong survival in aggressive cancers like lung cancer. While long-term data are still coming in, the expectation is that earlier intervention with precision drugs will save more lives. Plus, there's an economic upside. Independent analysis of the lung pilot estimated that liquid biopsies could save the NHS $11 million a year by avoiding redundant procedures, starting effective treatment sooner, and preventing costly complications. That's a win-win for patients and the healthcare system. The broader impact of these liquid biopsy programs is transforming cancer care in ways we couldn't have imagined a few years ago. For one, they're paving the way for earlier cancer detection. The NHS Gallery trial is testing whether blood tests can catch cancers like lung, breast, and pancreatic before symptoms appear, which could shift diagnoses from late to early stages. Research from 2025 even showed that in colorectal cancer, an ultrasensitive ctDNA test detected recurrences about 6.5 months before they showed up on scans, in one case, over a year earlier. That kind of lead time could allow doctors to intervene early, maybe even cure a recurrence with surgery. Liquid biopsies also mean fewer invasive procedures. Instead of multiple surgical biopsies to sample tumors or retest as cancers evolve, patients can often get the same information from a blood draw. This reduces risk, discomfort, and complications while making it easier to monitor tumors over time. Faster treatment decisions are another huge benefit. By delivering genetic results in days, liquid biopsies let doctors choose the right therapy right away, cutting down the wait and reducing patient anxiety. In the NHS pilots, this shaved about 2 weeks off the timeline to treatment, which can slow disease progression and ease symptoms sooner. The NHS is also making precision oncology the standard by tailoring treatments to each patient's tumor mutations. This means better response rates, less exposure to ineffective therapies, and access to clinical trials or precision drugs via the Cancer Drugs Fund. NHS leaders say this is transforming care by matching patients to life-extending treatments with greater precision. And it's not stopping with lung and breast cancer. The NHS plans to evaluate liquid biopsies for hard-to-diagnose cancers like pancreatic and gallbladder next, with potential applications in colon, ovarian, and more. This could lead to earlier diagnoses across the board, less invasive care, and a system that adapts quickly as cancers evolve. The NHS's bold moves haven't gone unnoticed, especially in the United States, where the medical community is reacting with a mix of awe, collaboration, and some healthy skepticism. The NHS announced its nationwide liquid biopsy program right before the 2025 American Society of Clinical Oncology meeting in Chicago, the world's largest cancer conference, putting a global spotlight on their work. U.S. oncologists called it a world first for bringing cutting-edge genomic science into routine care, aligning with America's own precision medicine goals. The NHS is even collaborating with U.S. companies like Grail, which developed the Gallery multi-cancer test, and Guardant Health, whose liquid biopsy platform supported the lung cancer pilot. The Royal Marsden Hospital in London partnered with Guardant for the Marsden 360 service, showing how the UK is a test bed for innovations that could spread globally. American researchers are doing similar work. Studies at Johns Hopkins, for example, show ctDNA tests can predict lung cancer responses to immunotherapy or catch recurrences early, much like the NHS findings. At the 2025 ACR conference, US and Canadian researchers presented data showing ctDNA detecting colorectal cancer relapse 6 months before scans, echoing the NHS's results. What sets the NHS apart is its ability to scale this nationally thanks to its centralized healthcare system. American clinicians admire this, with one oncologist noting that the UK's rollout provides a blueprint for integrating liquid biopsies into routine care at scale, something the US hopes to emulate. In the US, liquid biopsies are used case by case, often in clinical trials or for advanced cancer, but there's no unified national program. However, some American experts are cautious, especially about early detection tests like Gallery. A 2024 BMJ investigation highlighted skepticism about overhype, with concerns about overdiagnosis or false positives. The NHS's decision to wait for final Gallery trial data before expanding was praised as rigorous, aligning with the FDA's stance that multi-cancer tests need more evidence. No such test is FDA approved yet, though they're available as lab-developed tests. The American Cancer Society says they're promising but not ready to replace standard screenings. Overall, the NHS's progress is making waves, featured at major US conferences, and sparking discussions about how to replicate it. If the UK's outcomes, faster treatments, lives saved, cost savings, and happier patients keep trending positive, it could inspire similar efforts worldwide.